I'm Ozzy Osbourne. It's good to be back here again. Last year we had a rather bad accident when we did this. I hope one of them doesn't puke over me again this year. Keep on going, folks. Oh, my God.
No one can forget the legendary images of Ozzy Osbourne during the peak of his career. From his wild performances to his shocking statements. He was the founder of Black Sabbath, the iconic rock band that transformed the music world, and a pioneer in creating extreme music styles, both beloved and controversial. However, behind the spotlight of a rock legend was an Ozzy Osbourne with a complex background. As a father with 6 children, Ozzy faced not only personal life challenges, but also had to raise his kids in a constantly changing environment. Each of his children chose a different path in life, from those who became famous and lived in the spotlight to those who opted for a more private lifestyle, avoiding public attention. Throughout the years of fame, the Osbourne family became one of the most notable families in the entertainment world. Their appearance on the reality show, The Osbournes, gave the public an intimate look into the life of a rock star's family. The show exposed humorous, sometimes troublesome situations in an unreserved manner, making the family a symbol of chaos, but also warmth. Yet amidst the glitter of the Osbourne family life, not everything was easy. Ozzy's children grew up in an environment that was completely different from that of ordinary children, and each made their own life choices. While people like Kelly and Jack Osbourne became familiar faces on television, there were those who chose to stay away from the spotlight, living private lives with little public appearances. So how have Ozzy's children lived after growing up? Did they follow in their father's footsteps to become the next rock stars? Or did they choose a different path, avoiding fame to build their own lives? Each of Ozzy's children has a unique story reflecting different choices in a family full of ups and downs. 1. Elliot Kingsley. Elliot Kingsley, Ozzy Osbourne's son with Thelma Riley, is perhaps one of the lesser-known members of the Osbourne family. Born in 1966, Elliot is not Ozzy's biological child, but is Thelma's son from a previous relationship. However, when Ozzy married Thelma in 1971, he adopted Elliot, creating a complex yet strong family bond. This is a surprising story in the life of an adopted child who later became somewhat of a shadow in the bright spotlight. When we think of the Osbourne family, many immediately picture the bright and prominent children like Kelly and Jack, who continuously appear on television, building their high-profile careers. But Elliot is different. He is the one who chose a quieter life, avoiding attention, seemingly wanting to escape the limelight of fame. Despite carrying the blood of a rock legend, Elliot never used his father's fame to build his own career. Instead, he lived his life in the shadows, indifferent to attention, and never sought to step into the world of stars. This is particularly intriguing because in a family where fame is everything, Elliot chose a completely different path. No tabloid headlines, no social media posts, no private life stories shared openly. We know little about his life, and this secrecy makes Elliot an enigma. How could a son stand outside all the noise and attention when his father, Ozzy Osbourne, is known for his wild performances and scandalous life? But Elliot managed to do just that. He built a peaceful life away from the shadow of his famous father. Rather than following a career in music, Elliot found his passion in performing arts, becoming an actor. Not a star, but a true artist. He chose to be involved in plays, performing in the quiet stage of the National Theatre in the UK, a place where people go not to see a celebrity, but to experience art. And in that world, Elliot didn't have to live under the spotlight. He didn't have to be an object of public curiosity. Elliot took a completely different path from his father, even though it would have been easy for him to become part of the family's entertainment empire. But no, he didn't choose that. He didn't need recognition or fame to feel valued. His self-respect, independence, and strong sense of self made him a special person, unyielding to the temptation of fame. Even when the Osbourne family life became more chaotic than ever, Elliot remained steadfast in his decision to preserve his privacy. So the big question is, why did Elliot choose such a difficult path? Why did he reject all the fame he could easily have had? Perhaps in a family full of chaos and noise, Elliot just wanted to find his own space, a place where he could live like a normal person. A life undisturbed by public curiosity, a life where he could freely pursue his passion for art without being shaped by the shadow of Ozzy. Elliot is not just Ozzy Osbourne's son. He is an independent individual with strong choices and a somewhat lonely path. When Ozzy passed away in 2025, Elliot's name was not mentioned in the official family statement. Perhaps this is because he chose to live completely separate from the public aspect of the family. But perhaps his absence spoke volumes about the love and respect Elliot had for his father. A love that didn't need to be proven, didn't need to be shared with the world. A quiet, unspoken love, but also deeply sincere. 2. Kelly Osbourne. Kelly Lee Osbourne, the third child of Ozzy and Sharon, is one of the most prominent figures in the Osbourne family, and also the most widely recognized by the public. Born on October 27, 1984, Kelly had a tumultuous childhood caught up in a world of rebellion noise and public attention. With her rebellious actions, she became an icon of teenage defiance in the 2000s and one of the most interesting children in the Osbourne family. From the moment the reality show of the Osbournes began, Kelly became the center of attention. Her image with purple hair and her bold personality, along with humorous yet stubborn dialogues with her parents, made her a symbol of teenage rebellion. Kelly's straightforwardness, sometimes fierce in dealing with her parents, set her apart from the other characters on the show. She became the image of a girl who wasn't afraid to speak her mind and always ready to confront those around her. Despite her seemingly edgy and wild exterior, Kelly's life wasn't solely about rebellion. Behind the humorous stories and her prominent presence on television, Kelly struggled with many personal issues, from addiction to mental health crises, while facing harsh criticism from the media. Entering the world of fame at a young age, Kelly endured immense pressure from the public and the media. She shared that since she was young, she always felt watched and could never escape the shadow of her parents, especially when she was criticized for her appearance and lifestyle. However, Kelly's life was not just filled with struggles. In 2002, when the Osbournes was riding high on success, Kelly decided to try her hand at music. She released her debut album, Shut Up, which included a cover of Madonna's Papa Don't Preach. Although her music career didn't last long, Kelly continued to face new challenges. She appeared in various TV shows, gradually transitioning from a rebellious daughter to a prominent television host. The most notable of these was Fashion Police on E!, where Kelly showcased her sharp commentary on celebrity fashion and style. With her sharp speaking skills and unique fashion sense, Kelly became one of the prominent figures in the television industry, no longer just Ozzy Osbourne's daughter. Yet fame and career were not the only things Kelly had to grapple with. Like many stars, she faced addiction issues from a young age. Kelly shared her journey of battling drugs and alcohol, which began when she was just 13 years old after becoming addicted to painkillers following surgery. Her life became chaotic in her early adulthood as she was swept into the turbulent waves of addiction. By the age of 19, Kelly had to enter rehab and start her long journey of recovery. Even after overcoming addiction, Kelly couldn't escape the battles with herself, especially when it came to dealing with media criticism of her appearance. The media relentlessly criticized her weight, body image, and lifestyle. From a skinny girl, Kelly underwent a body transformation, which made the attacks on her even more painful. However, Kelly didn't let those cruel words bring her down. She chose to face her body, sharing her weight loss journey and newfound confidence on social media. Kelly said she had to start from scratch with her image and health, a journey that was not easy. Then Kelly's life entered a new chapter when she found true love. In 2022, Kelly publicly announced her relationship with Sid Wilson, the DJ from Slipknot, someone she had known for years through concerts. The two had grown close over more than 2 decades, and after their friendship blossomed into love, they entered married life together. Kelly announced that she was expecting her first child at the end of 2022, and in March 2023, they welcomed a son named Sydney. This marked an important turning point in Kelly's life, as she was no longer the rebellious girl of the 2000s, but a happy mother. From being the unlikable daughter in the eyes of the public, Kelly Osbourne has grown into a strong, independent woman determined to change her life. Through each challenge, she not only transformed herself, but also became a resilient woman, ready to face any difficulty. Her personal struggles have helped Kelly rebuild her life, shifting from a public image of criticism to becoming a role model in self-acceptance. The hardships of her past, from rebellion and addiction to health issues, couldn't bring Kelly down. Today, she is a mother, a wife, and a successful TV host. Kelly Osbourne has proven that sometimes the greatest challenges can lead to the most powerful transformations. More importantly, she has found happiness in life, love, and family. 3. Jessica Starshine Osbourne. Jessica Starshine Osbourne, the eldest daughter of Ozzy Osbourne and Thelma, born in 1972, has long been one of the lesser-known members of the Osbourne family. As a child raised in the absence of her father, who was often caught up in tours and a life full of scandals, Jessica did not choose the path of fame. Instead, she chose to live a separate life, staying out of the public eye. Despite carrying the bloodline of a rock legend, Jessica decided not to let her father's fame dictate her life. From a young age, Jessica had to endure the absence of her father's love. Ozzy, during the height of his career, was frequently away from the family, pursuing his passion for music and dealing with personal issues, from addiction to various life problems. She grew up in a tumultuous household with memories that weren't particularly pleasant about her father, which made her feel deprived of his care and affection. Rather than chasing fame and the glitz of the entertainment industry, Jessica chose her own path, separate from the noise, avoiding public events and not participating in the reality show The Osbournes. With a career in the arts, Jessica decided to work behind the scenes, not seeking to appear in front of the public like her siblings. She started her career in film production, mainly in costume design, makeup, and working with television shows. Jessica also dabbled in acting and had small roles in popular series like Better Call Saul and The Messengers, but she never sought fame from these roles. Instead, she continued working hard behind the scenes, contributing to the success of artistic projects without ever trying to stand under the spotlight. However, Jessica's life wasn't always smooth sailing. Throughout the years as she built her own career, Jessica had to face many difficulties and challenges. One of the biggest struggles was the absence of her father Ozzy in her family life. Although they maintained a loving relationship, Jessica couldn't avoid the feeling of loneliness and deprivation in a famous family filled with instability. On a personal level, Jessica also faced some tough moments in life, especially as Ozzy battled Parkinson's disease. In recent years, Jessica was one of the family members who quietly stood by, enduring the hardship without ever publicly sharing her emotions. Her quiet strength highlighted her independence and inner power. Jessica didn't need to display her struggles to the media. Instead, she always found ways to silently support her family, taking care of her parents and siblings in their hardest times. Recently, after Ozzy passed away in 2025, Jessica continued to live a discreet life with no long posts, no public declarations. Only a short caption on Instagram, accompanied by a black and white photo of Ozzy and the song Crazy Train playing in the background, reflected the silent love Jessica had for her father. She didn't need to express her grief through words, but simply remembered him in her private space in a world already too familiar with the Osbourne children. Currently, Jessica lives in the United States and continues her work in the arts, particularly in filmmaking. She is now a specialist in costume makeup and design for television and film projects. Although no longer as visible as she was during her early appearances on television shows, Jessica maintains a stable career and is increasingly becoming an integral part of the Hollywood arts community. Her work is not just a quiet contribution, but also a testament to her independence, determination, and strength as a daughter who may not be publicly recognized, but continues to thrive in her career. In her personal life, Jessica is now the mother of 3 children and continues to live a private life. She rarely shares details about her family, but it's clear that her love for her children has helped her overcome the challenges in her life. Although her life has faced many trials, Jessica continues to live by her own values without the need for comparison to anyone in the Osbourne family. 4. Jack Osbourne. Jack Osbourne, the youngest son of Ozzy and Sharon, perhaps has the most remarkable and tumultuous journey of growing up in the Osbourne family. Born on November 8, 1985, Jack is best known for his role on the reality show The Osbournes, where he became the mischievous son with humorous remarks and adorable moments on television. However, behind these moments lies a story of challenges in growing up, the pitfalls of fame, and ultimately the battle to overcome addiction and rediscover himself. From a young age, Jack had to face many difficulties within the family. Despite being the son of a famous rock star, like Ozzy, Jack did not have the peaceful life that other children might have had. The chaos in the Osbourne household, combined with his father's addiction issues, meant that Jack went through a childhood that wasn't easy, particularly when the family started filming. The Osbournes, Jack became a beloved character due to his innocent and humorous personality. However, the fame and public attention put a lot of pressure on him. But the biggest struggles for Jack only began when he reached adulthood. Like his mother, Sharon, Jack suffered the negative effects of fame. In 2003, when he was just 17, Jack faced addiction issues. The first time it became known that Jack was struggling with addiction was when he entered rehab to treat an OxyContin addiction an opioid painkiller. For a young person, addiction is a difficult issue to overcome, and Jack was no exception. The fame of the Osbourne family placed pressure on him, making his life even more stressful and chaotic. However, what is commendable is that Jack did not let addiction control his life. After a long period of treatment and recovery, Jack was determined to return to a normal life. After 18 years of battling drugs, he overcame the illness and gradually rebuilt his life. Jack shared that despite the difficult recovery process, it helped him rediscover himself and become much stronger. After completing his treatment, Jack found a new passion in television. He began a career in television production, and his show, Jack Osbourne Adrenaline Junkie 2005 to 2009, where Jack engaged in extreme activities like mountain climbing and skydiving, helped him rebuild his image in the public eye. These shows not only helped Jack change his image, but also provided an opportunity for him to challenge himself and step out of the darkness of his past struggles. What's notable is that while the public was familiar with Jack's rebellious image, this show gave him the perfect opportunity to showcase another side of himself, that of a strong man, always ready to face challenges and continuously learn. After Adrenaline Junkie ended, Jack continued to participate in other television programs, especially ones exploring the supernatural, such as Portals to Hell 2019, where he and colleague Katrina Weidman investigated supposedly haunted locations. One of the significant turning points in Jack's life was when he joined his father on the show Ozzy and Jack's World Detour 2010 to 2018, where the father-son duo traveled the world exploring historical sites from Stonehenge to Roswell. These trips were not only an opportunity for Jack and Ozzy to reconnect, but also an important part of Jack's healing journey. He showed that family relationships, especially between father and son, could overcome all difficulties and challenges. The moments between Mike and Ozzy on this show were filled with emotion, reflecting healing and closeness within the family after years of separation. Not just in television, Jack also founded his own television production company, Osbourne Media, where he developed projects related to the mysterious and supernatural, while continuing to collaborate with family members to maintain the Osbourne legacy in the entertainment industry. However, Jack's life has not been without challenges. In 2012, after having his first daughter, Pearl Clementine, Jack was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, MS, an autoimmune disease that affects the nervous system. This was a huge shock for the family and for Jack, but he didn't let the disease affect his life. Despite facing changes in his body and life, Jack decided not to let the disease control him. He maintained a healthy lifestyle and adhered to treatments to control the symptoms of the disease, inspiring many others to live with illness without allowing it to dictate their lives. Currently, Jack Osbourne is a grown man, a father of 3 daughters, and married to Ari Gerhardt, whom he wed in 2023. He has found stability and happiness in his personal life while continuing his production work and exploring the supernatural world. Although in the past, he faced numerous challenges from addiction to illness today, Jack is not only a devoted father, but also a resilient man, ready to face every challenge life throws at him. 5. Louis John Osbourne. Louis John Osbourne, the second son of Ozzy and Thelma, born in 1975, is one of the least known members of the Osbourne family. Although he grew up in a famous family with a legendary rock star, Father Louis chose to follow a path away from the spotlight of fame, living a quiet life in England and never seeking to be a public figure. Looking back at the past, Lewis had a turbulent childhood. Like his other siblings, Lewis grew up in an environment where his father's absence was frequent. In the 70s, Ozzy was deeply immersed in drugs and the madness of the rock and roll lifestyle, a life that kept him from being present for his family. Lewis, only a child at the time, doesn't have many clear memories of important moments with his father, and this absence created a distance between them. The relationship between Lewis and Ozzy in the early years was somewhat cold, as Ozzy was too wrapped up in his career and bad habits. Lewis didn't have many fond memories of his father, which led to a complicated relationship with him. After Ozzy and Thelma divorced, Lewis and Jessica lived with their mother in England, while Ozzy started a new life with Sharon in Los Angeles. Lewis did not move to the U.S. with the family, which only increased the distance between him and his father. However, as Ozzy recovered and overcame his addictions, his relationship with his children gradually improved. As Lewis matured, he began to understand that his father was trying to heal the wounds within the family. Although the lost time could never be fully recovered, Ozzy's efforts to mend his relationships with his children were appreciated. As an adult, Lewis recognized his father's care and was willing to rebuild family ties, though he couldn't change the past. Although Lewis didn't follow his father's rock music path, he found his passion in electronic music. Instead of electric guitars and loud drums, Lewis was drawn to electronic beats and the sounds of the club and underground world. He became a DJ and music producer, finding satisfaction in creating music from electronic equipment rather than a guitar. Lewis carved out a new chapter in the Osbourne family's music legacy, leaving his own mark in a genre entirely different from what Ozzy had done. With this passion, Lewis founded Miha Recordings, a record label focused on releasing electronic music while also participating in underground music activities in Birmingham, where he grew up. Miha Recordings became an important part of the UK's electronic music community, and Louis continues this work with intense passion. His steps not only continue the Osbourne family's musical legacy, but also demonstrate his creativity and ability to adapt in a diverse music industry. Lewis's family life has also been quite stable. He met Louise Lennon, an Irish actress, in 2002 by chance at an event celebrating Ozzy's recognition on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Their relationship quickly grew, and after just a few months, they got engaged. Lewis and Louise married in 2003 in Ireland and later moved to Birmingham to settle down. The couple has 2 children together, which not only made Ozzy a grandfather, but also created a warm family memory, unaffected by the glitz of fame. Despite having a close relationship with his father, Lewis maintains a rather private life. He rarely participates in public events and television shows, unlike his siblings. Lewis has led a quiet life detached from the troubles and noise of the entertainment world. However, even though he doesn't appear much in the public eye, Lewis maintains good relations with his family, especially when Ozzy passed away in 2025. Lewis flew from England to Los Angeles to attend his father's final concert with Black Sabbath, a highly emotional and significant event for him. This moment was an important one in the relationship between Lewis and Ozzy, where both had the opportunity to enjoy their last moments together on stage, with Lewis sharing his feelings about his father through heartfelt writing. Lewis has shown that even though he lives separately and avoids fame, family bonds are still the most important thing. With a peaceful life and a growing music career in his own way, Lewis has overcome past challenges and built a hopeful future. He doesn't need to be tied to the Osbourne name to seek recognition. Instead, he asserts himself through his passion for music and family. Amy Rachel Osbourne, Ami. Rachel Osbourne, the eldest daughter of Ozzy and Sharon Osbourne, born on September 2, 1983, is perhaps one of the most notable yet least known members of the Osbourne family. Unlike her younger siblings, Amy rejected the fame that the reality show The Osbournes brought. When the show began airing in 2001, Amy was just 16 years old and immediately decided to leave home and not participate in the filming. This decision was not easy, as in such a famous family, refusing public attention can bring immense pressure on a young person. Amy never wanted her life to be scrutinized under the media's microscope. In an interview, she shared that she felt uncomfortable living under constant public surveillance. She expressed her strong determination by saying, "If I stayed and participated in the show, I would be labeled as part of the Osbourne family, and I didn't want to be defined that way." Amy understood that with such a famous family joining the show would attach her to the image of a rebellious child, making it hard to escape the shadow of her parents. This act of rebellion wasn't just a rejection of fame, but a way for Amy to assert herself, avoiding the mold that the media and the public had created for her. This was especially important given her status as the daughter of Ozzy Osbourne, who had become a symbol of rebellion and chaos in the rock world. Despite rejecting the fame of her family, Amy did not abandon her passion for the arts. She chose to pursue a career in music and the arts, seeking a path that did not rely on her father's fame. Amy started her music career under the stage name Arrow, a name she created for herself to establish her individual identity. Her music, a blend of synth pop and alternative rock, was completely different from what Ozzy had ever performed. In 2015, Arrow released her debut single, Raining Gold, a song that reflected Amy's personal journey, addressing the feeling of being misunderstood and the decision to discard the label of being Ozzy Osbourne's daughter. She shared that the song was inspired by her life when she felt isolated and unable to escape the shadow of her famous family. This feeling, she said, led her to music as a means to liberate herself from constraint, allowing her the freedom to create and find her true self. However, Amy's musical journey was not without its challenges. Despite her talent and passion, the music industry wasn't kind to someone without a big name like hers. Amy faced many difficulties maintaining her music career and didn't always receive public recognition. Nevertheless, she did not give up. While she didn't achieve the fame her younger siblings did, Amy continued to pursue her passion for music and the arts. For her, music was not a way to prove herself to others, but a tool to connect with herself, to find peace and tranquility within. One of the most heartbreaking events in Amy's life occurred in May 2022 when she experienced a disaster at a recording studio in Hollywood. A sudden fire broke out, engulfing the entire building, and Amy and her producer had to escape through thick smoke. Fortunately, both of them made it out, but one person in the group could not escape in time. This event completely changed Amy's perspective on life. She realized that every day is a gift, and she needed to appreciate what she had. After the fire, Amy not only continued her music career, but also participated in other artistic projects, seemingly with newfound strength from the hardships she had faced. Looking at the present, Amy continues to release new music and maintain her unique musical style. While she doesn't seek the fame like the other members of her family, she has gained recognition in the indie artist community. Amy's music remains introspective, deep and emotional, captivating listeners with its honesty. Though she may not be a big music star, Ami continues to live true to her identity, not chasing glamour, but finding peace in her art. Like her siblings, Ami has gone through the ups and downs of life, but she has chosen to face them strongly and with resilience. Her music career and the challenges she has faced have helped her grow into an independent woman who isn't drawn into the limelight of fame, but finds happiness in living authentically. While each of Ozzy Osbourne's children has chosen their own path, the important thing is that they have all created lives for themselves based on personal values and dreams, unbound by the overwhelming shadow of their legendary father. The challenges and hardships they've faced have not only shaped them into stronger individuals, but have also helped them become independent, resilient people. The Osbourne family, despite its rebellion and chaos, is one of love and support in private moments. Ozzy Osbourne's legacy is not only in music, but also in the lessons of resilience and overcoming adversity. All 6 of Ozzy's children, each pursuing their own paths, carry with them the values passed down from a music legend, continuing to live, love, and grow in this challenging world.